Let's get it. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Weekly Review. I am Dylan Carlson alongside my good buddy Josh Hoffman. Man, it feels good to have you back in the studio. I know you've been doing a lot with the move. How's that been going for you, man?
It's it's been good, been stressful, but I think we're over the bad part of it. And
100%.
it's just getting the house settled in, and more importantly is I'm set up and I'm ready to go from here on out
Yeah.
with you. So,
Well, I mean, this show really isn't that important. I know our viewers do enjoy it quite a bit, but at the end of the day, we're just watching video game edits and giving our feedback. But hey, I'm glad to hear that you're set up, you're ready to go for the show. I mean, it's always good. Last week was kind of an impromptu solo dolo episode. Unable to secure a guest for this week as well, so that's unfortunate news. But hey, we're gonna do it. We're gonna get back after it. So another regular episode.
okay.
But before we start, I did want to talk about something and something near and dear to my heart. If you guys watched last weekend's race in East Rutherford, I can't remember if that's where it was. I wouldn't say he's a good friend of mine, but I definitely raced him growing up as a kid. Jerry Robin ended up having it didn't look like that bad of a get off in qualifying, but it ended up being a pretty horrendous crash, and he's suffered a fracture in his T5 and T6 vertebrae and had to have his T3 through T9 vertebrae fused, which resulted in him being paralyzed from the waist down. So, in the description is his Road to Recovery cause page. Anybody that watches the stream, feel free to donate. If you already haven't donated, we're just trying to promote this as much as we can. If you know Jerry's story, he was just on the Gypsy Tales podcast. Listen to it, man. Like, growing up, seeing that kid, arguably one of the most talented kids on a dirt bike, bar none, and to see him come from like nothing. Like, I mean, dirty, ratty bikes, run down, make a name for himself just on pure talent alone. Then to see him go into the pro ranks and be really successful, it's heartbreaking to see that we lost another really talented guy that who was having an awesome season to a pretty horrific crash. So again, it's down in the description below. Feel free to donate. I know Jerry and his wife Jennifer would appreciate the hell out of it, and all of us on the show as well.
Yes, yeah, well said.
Awesome. Well, we've got honestly, like, we talked about this before the show. It's been a pretty slow week as far as content is concerned. Like, not a ton of stuff has been put out. There are some new editors that I've kind of selected this week. We've seen kind of
Okay.
repeat offenders the last couple of weeks that we've been doing this show, and I kind of wanted to spotlight some new talent. So,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, let's just get into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So the first one is called Temptation. It's by Fractal Creations. It's got 100 some subscribers. I'm not entirely sure. I think we've seen his stuff before. Um, yeah, seems like it should be all right.
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right. Let's make sure our volume's good. 58 seconds.
It's just the way I feel. Mine's been racing so long. Yeah, it's just no way to deal with these problems alone. And I really can't take it no more. I've been fighting temptations, my lord. I'm young and I'm restless. And I really can't help it. I never felt selfish before. I've been living so reckless, I know. Tell me, Loki, you help me. I said, Loki, you help me. Now everybody got problems, yeah, but waiting no one way to solve them. I really came up from the bottom, struggling my mama on the last dollar. Hustling, man, I've been putting in these hours. The government been trying to take away what's ours. Really all about the money and the power. I just want to see my people in power.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I,
Yeah.
I
Like,
don't think that was bad at all. Great one to start off with, I think. kind of
100%.
set the pace of the show. Yeah, no, that was really solid. I'm really digging the naked bike. That's just a vibe, you know. I
Hmm.
think you can agree.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
I don't know. It's just super cool to see stuff like that. But as far as the edit goes, I think the pacing was good with the music. Good choice in music. He had a really nice hit with the music there. Had some really cool, interesting shots. Good B roll. Yeah, no, I think this was a pretty solid submission or feature, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think it was. Okay, so there's definitely stuff that we can unpack about this one. But as
Oh,
far as
absolutely.
like
Yeah.
everything that I saw, like he's checking all of the boxes. Um, and for short form content, like this is fine. So I really, like you said, I like the naked bike. I like, first of all, like I'm just gonna call it out because it's obviously it's going to be a reoccurring theme on this show. Um, he had bike sounds, and
Bike sounds and tasteful bike sounds. Like they sounded good.
right, like prevalent, and I
Yep.
understand that there's a lot of people that hate how MX bike sounds, but again, like putting an edit together without bike sounds is it just kind of defeats the purpose, man. Like you're really missing that aspect. Um, and for me, like I really enjoyed it. Um, so when this started, we get 15 seconds of B-roll. It opens with a nice like fade to black or dip from black. We get the naked bike. We get a couple of head turns. Okay, like fine. I'm not too upset about it. I really I really want to push editors to find like different angles and try to like actually utilize the environment a lot more. And that's something that I've had to push myself because, it's so easy to just do the head turn animation and I do it all the time. Everybody does it. It's fine.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
it whatever. It's a staple for dirt bike edits, the head turn, whatnot. Do we need to see multiple angles of it? Probably not, in my opinion. But again,
Sure.
that's just me. But I really like that the way that this started because we see, solid reshade with depth of field. Like it looks crisp. The color grading is like for all intents and purposes awesome. He's not, it's not oversaturated. It's not blown out. Um,
Yep. Yep.
like some really high level stuff. But then, we see this shot and I'm like, oh, okay. Like this is great. He's got a nice depth of field. And then this happens. And then I mean, I don't know. Like the camera work was good and then it wasn't. So and it has to do with like again trying to keep that rider in the center of the shot. Um I I get what he was trying to accomplish here, but with the way that this is like set up, I don't think having this push in or almost like drone work was really necessary. And it's something indicative of a newer editor, somebody that doesn't have a ton of time behind filming or anything like that, is it's constantly trying to stay as close as you can to the subject. And what that lends itself to is kind of choppy and jittery camera work. So then we kind of progress through a couple of these other shots, and you really start to see it be pretty prevalent throughout this. And again, I'm not saying like my camera work is absolutely perfect, but there's a lot of stuff where you can mitigate this by just reshooting it and slowing it down and trying to figure out, okay, how can I make this shot look really smooth and consistent and not get those camera jitters because it's really easy to pick out and it decreases the quality in your edit.
Yeah, and when you have somebody critical like you going over it, it really shows. Well, like that going back to that first shot that you were talking about, we were static, right? And then we start moving. So it's like the shot wasn't set up to be a moving scene. We just kind
Right.
of started moving, right?
Right. And again, like shooting from a static position, fine. Like I'm okay with like kind of how Shady shoots or Panic, they'll shoot from static positions all the time. Very rarely will you see their style of shooting be dynamic in nature.
Mhm.
And I'm not trying to pigeonhole them, but like they're really good at shooting static positions and then not making it look bad. Um, so yeah, like shifting from static to dynamic never looks good. It's really abrupt. It's very abrasive um on the eyes and how it's like visual. It looks weird, and it can be very difficult as a
Well,
viewer to
it's
go
not
through
like
that.
natural. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so then I just want to talk about this. It's like we have depth of field throughout, and then all of a sudden it's like it kind of went away, but it didn't. I don't know. Like I feel, yeah, because like this shot's great. Like we've got some blur in the background, but it's not too much. But it's not terrible. But a lot of this is just, yeah, like this. This is the style of shooting that I'm talking about. And I liked this shot, how this progressed. Like it was like a snap zoom, but it wasn't terrible. Okay, this is something that he did exceptionally well. I really liked the layout of this shot. I think there was some little bit of camera work that he could have cleaned up on the front end just by editing this down. But for its all intents and purposes, a snap zoom this way is way better. It looks way cooler to the viewer that he let the subject zoom in, we get really close, and then just boom,
It's
fade
out.
out of frame. Like
Yep.
that's how you do a snap zoom. And that's how you like add some visual interest to your piece. I don't know. I might be ragging on this guy a little too hard for his reshoot or his like film work just because like yeah, like his depth of field because he has it in every shot. Maybe I just didn't notice it through the first watch, but like as I'm looking back now, it's there. It could be refined a little bit, but again, like it's there. He's got all the tools in the toolbox. I just think, you know, a little bit smoother camera work. Like this drone shot, it's stuff like that, that really abrupt motion as the camera flicks up. Like yes, that's what you'll see on a drone, but it's really abrasive to the eyes. So, cleaning that stuff up and honestly like pretty good at what he does. As like he's ahead of a lot of guys in this space, and I mean for me it's not that hard to see it. Yeah, what are your thoughts?
Well, no, I was just gonna highlight, you're harping on, his camera work, because he's doing everything else well.
Right.
So if he cleans that up, then he's that much more, into making some some quality edits. So I
Right.
think it's actually a good thing that you're kind of focusing on one thing. It's not all encompassing, you have all this to work on.
Right.
It's just clean up some camera work, get some, you know, more interesting angles, and then you're off to the races. So
Yeah. No, and I think like his shots were all well put together. Like the pacing's fine. Um, you know, it had a nice little like fade out. The ending of this, I know you're a stickler for, you know, short form content not having a nice bow on it to wrap it up.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I think he did that well. I think like yeah, like for all intents and purposes, this was a pretty well put together piece. I don't see anything that's like super glaring other than the camera work. He checked all the boxes that I would expect out of a bike's edit. He had bike
Yep.
sounds. He had a little bit of B-roll. I mean, I guess I could challenge him to, you know, push the limits a little bit for B-roll and get the environment involved. I feel like there's so many people
Yeah.
that
Right.
solely focus on the rider and the bike when, you know, these track creators create these environments to make it as immersive as possible. And if you go and watch, you know, for instance, go watch the new Rockstar video that Dino put out when he revealed that he was going to race the HRC bike. Like
Yeah.
so much of that is environment. And yes, I
Right.
get it. We can't do all of that in bikes, but we can do a ton with the environment around us and to make solid B-roll. So, yeah, I guess that would be my two things that I would work on. Just work on cleaning up that camera work just a little bit more, but he's doing everything right as far as reshade is concerned. His color grading is fine. It's, yeah, like I'm not like, it's all subjective when it comes to color grading. He definitely went for like a more realistic looking color grading. You know, it's not super saturated, not super cinematic, anything like that. It's just nice, clean cut. Um, Pacing was solid for short form content. There's a little bit of like a lot of slow mo, but not like it wasn't. That wasn't something that stuck out to me. That there was a lot of
No,
slow
it
mo.
wasn't glaringly obvious, or it wasn't like, oh, hey, I'm bored or something. Yeah, it didn't stick out.
No, I think he did a great job here. Like this is solid. I want to see more content out of him and see, you know, if he does watch the show or if he finds something that, you know, he takes his feedback, cleans that up. I bet it we won't have anything to gripe about, and then we can start to get into the nitty-gritty of like actually putting together, you know, high level pieces.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, on to the next one. We've got Twisted Visuals. The Grinch VTD. Okay, 81 subscribers. It's been 6 months since my last post. Okay. All right. Well, let's get after it. A club bike.
I've been running wild since a jit. Grandma never raised a bitch. Jumped off the push, picked up a stick. 14 turned into the Grinch. You must ain't heard I take your shit. Nan that glitz, I took your bitch. Puss ass nigga better play with his clips. I don't know what you thought, but that ain't this. I've been running wild since a jit. Grandma never raised a bitch. Jumped off the push, picked up a stick. 14 turned into the Grinch. You must ain't heard I take your shit. Nan that glitz, I took your bitch. Puss ass nigga better play with his clips. I don't know what you thought, but that ain't this.
Okay.
Yep.
Um.
You wanna start?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, I can almost guarantee that he recorded this without shaders or reflections on.
Okay.
Either that or whoever did his graphics just straight up and down didn't put a reflection map on. Anything along those lines.
Yeah.
And the only reason I say that is because if you look at these forks, there's zero reflections. It's not shiny. There's nothing there. And it very much looks like bikes. And that's
Yeah, 100%.
like, that is disappointing, right? Because like as editors and, you know, people that create content, you want this game and your content to be displayed in the best light possible. And if you don't have shaders on, I'm sorry. It looks like
You just
bikes.
can't. Yeah, you can't get around that one.
Right. You know, one thing that's pretty glaring for me is the lack of depth of field. Camera
Yeah.
work was,
Yeah, that's a good shot to showcase that.
yeah, like you can hide these skyboxes, and don't get me wrong, JV does a great job. I don't know exactly what test track this is on. Maybe I could tell you in just a second. I think it might be the orange. No, it's the yellow one. Yeah, like he does a great job with his skyboxes and his environment, but it's still, again, it's bikes, man. Like it's really difficult to make this game look as good as some of these high level guys do, and it all comes from depth of field. I think, you know, maybe he's just trying to have fun, but again, like if we look at a lot of I think his slow mo is way too slow, and you'll see it here with how jittery this footage is.
Yep.
And now you add like snap zooms and jittery camera work.
It just highlights it so much more. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was what I was going to talk about. Yep. And furthermore, you know, bikes, you know, dust trails aren't the greatest, especially in slow mo.
Right.
And that was really showcased in a lot of these shots, which is what I noticed.
Yeah, like the roost and everything in bikes, There is a way to make it look good in slow-mo, but it's really, really hard. Um, it's easier just to like get away from it. And again, like guys like Pax do it really well, where he'll have it's speed ramping into that shot, and then he'll either record it faster when he goes to record, and then slows it down so it has a little bit of frame blending that can kind of mitigate that. I don't know exactly how he does it, but you can mitigate how bad it looks in post. But if you're doing it in pre-production, it's really hard to make it look good. But yeah, other than that, like this one's really difficult for me because as soon as I saw that there wasn't reflections on or shaders, I just knew, off the top that it was going to be kind of difficult to review this and try to stay positive. You know what I mean?
Kind of set the pace for it. It's well, speaking of pace, it's a good segue for me. This goes back to the last time, I was on the show here. All slow-mo is not the way to go, personally.
Yeah.
It
Was
just
it all
yeah,
slow?
there's cool shots. I'm not gonna deny the shots, but it's like this is all we're seeing with just some music, in the background. I mean, if that's some people's cup of tea, that's great because if we pull back a little bit, yeah, it's dirt bikes with some music.
Mhm.
We can all vibe to it. I actually really like this shot right here.
Right.
But it's like, well, I guess that's on a slow mo. So
Sure.
I'll eat my words a little bit, but 90% of this piece is slow mo, and
Mhm.
mixing in lack of depth of field, the weird kind of graphic thing going on, the super
Mhm.
jittery slow, what he's recording in. Yeah, it kind of takes you out of it a little bit.
Mhm. Yeah, and I don't know what he's recording in as far as frames are concerned, but maybe recording in a higher frame rate and then exporting in a lower frame rate will help just kind of alleviate that jitteriness because it'll just start to blend those frames naturally. You'll get a little bit of motion blur. Um yeah, like for me, I just think there's so many glaring things that could have been cut out in pre-production prior to this going to post.
Yeah, some more what I'm trying to say, more thought out like prep work. I mean,
Mhm.
he's got some cool shots lined up. I'm not saying that this is all just terrible.
No.
I really like the ideas and stuff. It's just executing with like you said, with lack of prep, I guess, would be a good way to kind of
Right.
describe how I'm feeling.
Well, and again, like he said, he hasn't posted in 6 months, so shaking the rust off, doing that stuff, it's expected. Like anytime you take a break from doing creative work, your first one back usually isn't going to be aces. It's going to
Yeah.
be, like, oh man, getting back into the flow of things, start if you, get a little bit more practice and get back into it, you start to get better. It's a perishable skill. I just think there was a lot of stuff that he missed the mark on for this one to be concerned. Like I just don't see this as something that I would be like, oh yeah, like I've got like really big things that I would or small things that I would pick apart. Like there's some pretty glaring things here that I realistically think should have been cleaned up before it even was exported, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, like he's got some cool shots, but then they're getting ruined by snap zooms and just kind of that I don't know, like beginner level camera and shooting style. I think that if snap zooms went away completely, I think I would be a lot happier. But again, we can go into how to do a snap zoom and make it look good at the end of the show. We were gonna do that last time you were on, but we just never got around
Yeah.
to it. Maybe it was like there's ways to make it look cool, And even the last edit that we saw, like, well, it's a snap zoom, but it looked good. There's ways to
It
make
did.
snap zooms look really fucking bad, and it's so easy to do it because again, it's at our fingertips. Again, this is all our subjective opinion. Oh yeah, and I'll let you touch on the ending portion.
Oh, well, it just kind of cut. You know, there's no
Okay.
bow, especially with the short form. Which I don't know if I'll ever get used to it. You know, I'll appreciate it, especially if it's well done.
Hmm.
But just some like quick clips of bikes and music is not my huge well, not my cup of tea.
Sure.
And you know, of course I'm just one guy on the internet, but
Right.
it's just weird, right? I don't know. You have to like almost over engineer your edit. You know, like has to be more thought put into this product, I guess, in my opinion, for me to really appreciate it because
Right.
you have such a little window to impress me, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You know, throwing up some writing clips and music, you know, for a short time, you know, it's just the interest, it really isn't there. So
Lars
I'll stop stop harping on that.
Larson saying, "Don't worry, I did not submit my under 30-second video this week." Look, man, like
Under 30 seconds. I mean,
I
I
get
don't
it.
know.
Maybe it's like the TikTok thing, man. Well, no, because that'd be like close. Well, what was Vine? Vine was like 7 seconds. Is
It was like
that?
7 seconds. Yeah, yeah.
But like that was cool because you had 7 seconds to get your point
To
across.
do something. Yeah, yeah.
And the problem with, uh, I'm not a huge fan of the like the under a minute mark because it's too short. But you can do it if you can do it well and you can get your point across in under 30 seconds. It's fine again, but you
I
can't
agree.
be
Yeah.
you can't be bad at this and then also have it be short because there's not enough time for us to look at like potentially better shots. So I feel like short form content, I'm not going to dissuade anybody from trying to, get into this and do video editing or, any sort of like creative stuff because that's not the point of this show. But
I
I f-
I think the bar is set a little bit higher. Because Pax says don't hate on the under 30 seconds content. And
Mhm.
and I'm not hating on it. I just well, one, I just have a deep appreciation for dirt bikes and the
Right.
creative process. So I just like longer form of content anyway.
Mhm.
But I think that short form content is under such a microscope that it's just naturally you're going to be judged a little harder. So you have
Right.
to step up and what you got, what you can do.
Right.
And when you fall short, you really fall short, right? I guess it's more
Right.
um more exaggerated the highs and lows.
100%. And so, like, just for like example here, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 clips. You have
Nine.
9 clips, and each of those. So, like, for instance, anything that's, I mean, there's guys that could slam 15 clips into 44 seconds. I
Yeah.
know there's people that can do that. Like, but if you have a short piece and you only have 9 clips and a majority of it is slow mo, first of all, that 44 seconds feels like forever,
Yeah.
and every single clip is being judged, like you said, under a microscope. It's very difficult to make that look good. Now, if you slam 15 clips and the pacing is bang, 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 okay, well, now you've got my interest. So I guess, like, we're not hating so much on the short form. The short form needs to be produced well, and there needs to be a lot in there. Give us more variety. Make the clips shorter. Get like ramp that pacing up so it feels like we actually got to see a piece, because 9 clips in 44 seconds of like a 2.5 minute long edit Okay, that's not bad. It's still, I would still say that's pretty slow, all things considered, but it's not the end of the world. Even then, I think this piece in general. I know we're spending a lot of time on this one, but this one kind of highlights the exact reason why we have a difficulty watching and reacting to short form content. I think it can be good and it can be done well, but the pacing needs to be right. And I think Twisted missed the mark on pacing as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good word to wrap up. Really, what our gripe is pacing,
Yeah,
100%.
I agree. All right, we won't spend too much more time on that. Okay, so this is from AO who did this? So, oh, no way. That's awesome. All right. 22 seconds. Okay, here we go.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. let's do it.
Under 30 seconds.
My goodies, my goodies.
Yes.
My goodies, not my goodies.
I got a sick reputation for handling brawls. All I need is me a few seconds or more, and it's a wrap. Tell the lady bring my lap, and I ain't coming back, so you can put a car right there. I'm the truth, and I ain't got
Like
nothing
sick.
to prove, and you can ask anybody, cause they seen me do it.
That's it?
That's a teaser.
Okay. Yeah, all right. So it's just the bikes. You know what? Like, I liked this. I liked it.
It wasn't. No. Yeah. It wasn't bad at all. It for what it was, pacing was good. But the reason why I say that is because they match it to the music.
Mm-hmm.
They cut, you know, the audio with the with the visual,
Mhm.
and interesting shots, beautiful bike. No, this was fun. I like this. See, this is a good example. There's no moving parts here either. So
No. No, it's an ad, essentially. Like,
yeah,
for 22 seconds, I mean, this probably took him maybe a half hour. And that's if
Yeah.
it took him a while to load into bikes.
yeah.
Yeah, like, all right, we'll just watch it from.
My goodies, my goodies, my goodies, not my goodies.
I got a sick reputation for handling brawls. All I need is me a few seconds or more, and it's a wrap. Tell the lady bring my lap, and I ain't coming back, so you can put a car right there. I'm the truth, and I ain't got nothing to prove, and you can ask anybody, cause they seen me do it. Barricades, I run right through 'em.
I feel like, okay. I mean, the reshade looks great. Like, see, this is what I'm talking about.
Yep.
If we went back to that other one and we looked at, what are you doing? You were gonna look out the window. Sorry, my fiance is interested in the basket. Oh, do you? All right. 1 second. You wanted the basket. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, I love the immediate. Yeah, no, we do the camera now. Okay. Just wanted some Easter candy. That's all
That's
right.
awesome.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, like, as far as I'm concerned, like, this is great. I feel like if it, for what it is on its face, like, it's fine. The reshade looks great. But going back to what I was saying, like, I can tell that he has reflections on and shaders because look at how much better this looks. Yeah, like, we get it. Like, these textures suck somewhere, and some places it looks bad, but like, this bike looks way better than the last one. So,
Absolutely, it does. Yeah.
and that's just, you have to do the dang thing. You have to crank this game to get it to look good. And yeah.
Well,
Pack
it's
says,
so too that you can make this interesting with deliberate, thoughtful,
Wrap. Tell
shots. Like the bike's not moving; it's just a showcase, but
right.
it looks good.
Yeah.
These subtle movements, the subtle, moving in and moving out. Yeah,
Yeah, like
not
the
bad at all.
camera works great. Like this is as far as short form content goes. Like yeah, would I have loved to see, you know, a little bit more riding? Obviously.
Oh, of course.
But as far as I'm concerned, like this is a teaser. It's produced at a really high quality. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure 9.4 was the guy that I reviewed last week that had a really solid edit. Not entirely sure if that was the same guy. But yeah, I mean this is great. The depth of field is awesome. You know, it changes. So I'm not a huge fan of the fisheye lens. I mean, if this was like 2009 and we were watching like a skate video, yeah. But
I love fisheye. Fisheye's dope, dude.
Okay, well, whatever. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm not gonna tell him to not do it. I know tons of people shoot like that, and whatever. That's a stylistic choice that I would never choose. But
Sure.
that this is my only gripe on this. Other than that, you know, I feel like we had 17. We had, you know, 5 seconds of just black on the back end of this. I think he could have maybe done one more, maybe one more clip, kind of round it off. But again, that's being nitpicky. As far as short form content goes, he had 22 seconds, and we got, well, I mean, the logos in the front took up 5 seconds, and then we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had 5 clips. So in half the time as the last one, we had, I guess, about half the clips. So yeah, but the camera works solid. It's just nice, steady motion. There's nothing there that I'm not gonna sit here and gripe about this one too long. I think it was fine. It's a cool ad. I like it. I like that style.
Yeah, for what it is, it worked. You know, yeah.
Mm-hmm. 100%, man. Like I think it's an ad. Shoot it like an ad. Like,
Exactly.
that's all it is. Like that. I'm not. Yeah. There's nothing about that is like, oh yeah. Oh, we need to change this. No, like that's fine. shoot an ad. It's 22 seconds long. Who cares? Okay. Exit Productions. This one's called Low Main. It's 1 minute and 4 seconds. Let's take a look.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a KTM. You want to know how I know? Because you heard that.
Yeah, chopstick came with a large low man. Extra clip in it, nigga. I ain't got no aim. Ball main pocket feel fresh, romaine. And I stay with the cash like an XO chain. 5,500, nigga, that's your rain. When I go to the club, make it storm hurricane. Nigga pull up, think he G.I. Joe, man. 762, turn him G.I. Jane. That Rico and Boo, they be knee high, man. Now when I look down, you know I can't see my aim. Man, she effing some rats, gave her 3 times 10. Put her right in the condo, put her in the bin. And I did all of that, no one see her again. And honestly, on the better things, that's a friend. These niggas groupies, they peons, man. King of my city like Leon, man.
That's sick.
These niggas by Eon, man. She let me touch for the free iron, man. So you know that's a must like Elon, man. They was saying I was spinning, you was saying I'm counting up green like a pea pie, man. I was holding down my team like my name was paid to make sure my brother good Elon, man. Cartier's got diamonds all in the middle like a nigga pulled up with 3 eyes, man. Just know them shits, they all GI, man. Everybody got rollies, that's team time frame. I said my cycle trying to...
Okay. All right. All right. I just want to say this because, like, he had the bike sound at the beginning, and then it was never heard again.
Then nothing. Yep.
Yeah, which fine, whatever. But I did love the fact that I called out that it was a KTM because it sounds like an old Mercury outboard too. And then you bust out the ether and it's But anyways, like for a minute and four, I thought the pacing was really good. You know, it started out really slow, and
Yeah, yeah.
and I've fallen victim to this in the past when I was still like pretty new to editing. You get these transition packs on the internet and they look cool and you're like, yeah, I want to use them. But everything in moderation, right? Like
Yeah.
they should be added as a splash of, you know, like an effect. But I wouldn't utilize them for everything. Other than that, like the camera work was oh, I mean, just I feel like it could get cleaned up a little bit, but the big thing that was glaring for me was depth of field, like
Yeah.
non-existent in this one, which is a shame because you know I think he's on the right track. Like, wait, catch it right at the end. Maybe that's just like moving into this shot. You know, like the snap zooms, stuff like that, it wasn't terrible. There's just some like a little bit of camera work that he could clean up, and I think with depth of field it definitely helps. This shot really bothered me. I don't know
I was waiting on the follow cam.
I don't like follow cam at all because the way that you would shoot this would be from a drone, and I promise you
Oh, this thing is getting destroyed.
that drone is in the dirt 100%. Now if he would have cut this like here and this would have been the start of the clip,
Then you're cool with it.
yeah, that's a sick shot. Still,
Yep.
I mean, again, it's kind of fish-eyed, but like whatever, you get the GoPro effect, fine, whatever. But yeah, where is it? Oh, come on. Just give me this right here. No. I like the idea,
It looks
execution.
cool. It's dramatic effect, right?
Well, and this makes me feel like he does have depth of field on, but it's just not registering because like this is blurred and this is not, and then you pan
But
out.
it's not apparent. Yeah.
Like it's on
don't know.
here and then it just like goes away. So I think you need to play around with your depth of field setting. I don't know if he just missed it everywhere because like it's
Yep,
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
It wasn't bad. Pacing, was okay, I think.
Mhm.
I think I'm just sensitive to like there's a couple of shots that are like hyper zoomed and you're like following the subject.
Mhm.
Um there's only a couple shots that he showcased here that kind of bothered me that I would kind of gripe about. But other than that, I mean, I see what he's doing. I think he's doing a pretty good job at executing, his thought at least on what to shoot. Um, but yeah, depth of field, just the little tricks of the trade to clean it up and make it a little bit easier to watch would definitely, help. I really love the beginning. That was super cool with that overlay, and then the bike sounds, the real life bike sounds.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that was really enjoyable.
Yeah. I think, like I just showed on screen, he's got 9 pieces of content out. I think he's headed in a right direction. He's already starting to play around with depth of field, but there was a lot of stuff on the camera work side that I would spend a little bit more time on and just really work on honing that in and then get your reshade dialed in as far as like the depth of field and stuff like that. I know it's super vague, but like that setting is so difficult and it changes every single shot.
Yeah.
And I learned this pretty far into my content creation where it was very much like, oh wow, it's not a set it and forget it kind of thing. Like, yeah, you can make it look okay, but it has to be dialed in if you want that really hyper realistic look. You want it to look high quality. You have to sit there and take the time to do it. And I get it. Like new content creators, you're just probably starting to play around with this stuff, and it takes time. The growing pains, the learning curve to making this look good, or to be at the level of like a Seabigs, a Pax, a Shady, a Murray, even Larson's starting to like come into his own as far as that is concerned. Like, there's a lot of things that, you know, these guys that are doing this at a high level that get it right, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of trial and error before they can be great at it, and they can be happy with it. And I feel like new editors, just in general, they kind of want it to look good right out of the gate, and it's just not it's not something that you have to learn how to do it, and you have to try stuff, and you have to be willing to go out of your comfort zone to get better, right? We all plateau, we all find new tips and tricks, and that's the whole purpose of this show. So if I'm Exit in this situation, and I don't even know if he's going to see this, right? We don't know if any of these people are ever going to see this episode.
Yeah.
But as far as I'm concerned, we have like 6 people that all edit at a really high level, and they watch this show religiously, and they're like, yeah, okay, yeah, sweet. And then they'll submit their video, and then they get their feedback, and they're like, all right, well, I'm going to submit another one for next week, and then I'll get some feedback, and I'll work on my thing. But, there's a lot of stuff that if I'm a new editor and I came across this show where it's like, holy shit, okay, so this is what they're talking about. They're talking about this specific thing, and this is what I can do better. And maybe I'll submit, maybe I won't. Who gives a shit? Doesn't really matter to me. But for this person, okay, so I did want to highlight this shot because I thought this was really like kind of well put together. We never really saw that scrub, but it was implied, right?
Yeah.
So like we get the variety in angles, and not to completely just derail what I was talking about, but like we get the variety. Oh, is this it is a 3D scan track. I was wondering why the textures look so fucking weird.
Yeah.
That's why. Okay, now it's starting to make sense. 3D scan tracks are really hard to look good. Just with how Bytes is and how it wraps the texture. They look sweet, and then they look sweet when you're riding on them, but to film on them, it's kind of difficult.
Well, because there's no actual, like, everything's flat, right? But there's a illusion of this depth, but it's, yeah.
And you can do a lot of that with normal map work, but yeah, like I would not suggest using a 3D scan track for filming purposes unless you were doing really far away shots. Like this jump right here in the background looks great.
It looks sweet, yeah. But right up here, this first roller,
this and then like all of this over here,
even
like it just doesn't look good. And that comes down to track creators and something like that. And as an editor, and you go to film on something, you have to be cognizant of that. Not all tracks are the same, and it can be really difficult to make it look good. But yeah, overall, I think he's headed in the right direction. I definitely think he needs to play around with depth of field settings, work on his camera work, but other than that, like I think he's pretty new to the game, and I'm not gonna drag him too much for wanting to get into doing something cool like this.
Yeah, he's on the right track.
Yeah, 100%. I think Exit just needs a little bit more time under his belt before we can really start to dive in and be nitpicky with his stuff.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
All right. Well, keep it up, man, and submit to the show if you ever do end up seeing this. I feel like we should go through and like tag all of the editors each week and just throw it in the comment section so they can go through and watch their segment, or do like timestamps for like
I think that's a great idea, actually. Yeah.
I think that would be really beneficial because a lot of these guys probably aren't going to see this show.
Oh, probably not, unless somebody somehow stumbles across it and they're like, oh, hey, I know that guy, and then sends it to them, just
Exactly.
like a super niche
Mhm.
circumstance.
Oh, it 100% is. All right. We've got Hayden. This was by Cuzza, and it's 1 minute and 33 seconds long. So the longest one we've seen so far.
Okay. I'm here for it.
Welcome to your new
These 4 inches, I'm sitting on the blitz. Live on the toilet, I stay on my shit. You say we ops, but you stay on my dick. My shooter a rapper, I send them a hit. They be on Twitter like when he gon' miss. Say I fell off, but I fell in this bitch. Fuck your white flag, I ain't telling them shit. I play it cool and hand Brody the blick.
Oh, fisheye. Oh, more.
Ain't drop no new music or shit. How you jump right on that song and then snitch? Nigga, you sassy and wrong as a bitch. Say the wrong thing and get put on that list. This is a warning, cause Savage don't diss. Better thank me that your ass still exists. Cause Jesus can't save you from wasting his stick. She don't look good without makeup, I'm stiff. Don't fuck with rappers, cause most of them snitch. Diamonds gon' cover my neck and my fist. Watch on my leg, cause I ran out of wrist. Draco Brown like a Hershey. Hang out the window and blow him a kiss. Hang out the window and wave at his bitch. Gun smoke, I take it far when I'm pissed.
undercover of the darkness. Sunlight moves, awakening. One man stirs while one's asleep. Before the dawn is ready.
Don't give a fuck, I'ma rock with my twin. Niggas freeze up when it's time to go spin. Speak on the dead and we bossing you in. Send you to heaven, they kill you again. We kill this buddy, he bucking again. If they revive him, we bust him again. Pistol so big, ain't no tucking it in. I got in trouble for telling on friends. Rip out your tongue if you talking too much. You gon' get chopped out talking to us. Bulletproof truck, cause I know that.
Why? Why?
Yep.
Okay. You know what? I didn't hate this.
No, I was actually getting into it. Except the ending. The ending fucking sucks. I'll just say that. I hated that.
Yeah.
Clean that up.
Sure.
But-
Sure. No, I didn't hate this. I like the reshade settings look great, man. Like this is what I would expect. Like the depth of field looks awesome. It's the color grading's fine. I hate fisheye so much, and having it back to back just really bummed me out, man. And okay, again, just kind of going back to like what we talked about earlier. I wish snap zooms would go away because they just don't look good. They never look good. In my okay, I shouldn't say they never look good, but in my
you
opinion,
have to use them correctly. Yeah.
right. And that is a huge piece of why I dislike them, because it's used a lot. It's a pretty prevalent portion of this piece. And I just don't like them. There was one section where maybe was it right here? I can't remember. It was like a full speed clip. No, it's not that. Like a lot of these clips look fine. I mean, yeah, we could clean up a little bit of like the camera work. Okay, yeah, here's an instance of showing what you can do instead of a snap zoom. So, in this portion, what we would see is usually somebody would zoom in really quick to get tight to that rider. Instead, what he does a great job of is he completely changes the angle, or not completely changes the angle, but he completely changes the depth of field in a completely separate scene, in a completely separate shot. It does the exact same thing as a snap zoom, but it makes it look a lot cleaner because you're not getting that abrasive camera motion, that extremely fast, like zoom in, and it doesn't look good. But this looks good. This makes sense. We've seen this time and time again across moto edits, starting with like the Verb Platinum shit, like even further back from there. Like as soon as slow-mo was a thing for dirt bikes, which it's been a thing forever, people have been shooting like this in action sports edits everywhere. It's a staple. You're not,
And it looks good. Yeah,
and it
you
it
can't go wrong
looks
with it,
no,
in my opinion.
no, you can't. This is what should replace every single snap zoom. Two completely separate shots from two completely different zooms, and it looks way better.
Right.
As an editor, just I honestly like I can't tell you to unbind the zoom key from your controller, but like, dude, that is one thing. If you're not gonna set and forget your depth of field, set and forget your fucking zoom, and just leave it alone until you go to the next shot, and then set it again and don't fuck with it, because it will, I promise you, it will look 100 times better. It will look higher quality. It looks fucking better. And it's not even up for debate. I know that is a subjective opinion, but it's not. That is an objective
I mean,
opinion.
I completely agree.
It will look better. Snap zooms look bad. They look corny, they look cheesy, and it makes it look like a video game. But okay. From there, like, I like the pacing. You know, I thought this minute mark was going to be the end of it. This portion. So we get some B-roll of the track, depth of field, awesome. Love it. He can maybe turn on the near blur a little bit more. Just to get like
Okay, yeah.
a little bit more like effect out of it. And we can, I mean, we've got a PAX edit coming up, so we can talk about that more because he does a really great job of that. But what really stood out to me in this shot is the camera work and how it was kind of stop and go, and it should have just been one fluid shot. So like you can see it, and then it stops,
Right there. Yeah.
and then it goes
It moves
again.
again. Yeah.
Yeah. So stuff like that. It's the little things that normally your viewer's not going to catch, but on this show, we're going to see it right away. So
Yeah.
little bit of camera work cleanup. I think he's ahead of a
Just
lot
smooth
of
it out.
people.
Just be intentional of
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Exactly.
Just pick a direction, pick a speed. Then you're
Yep.
done. That's it.
Right. Give yourself, and I mean, you're shooting a portion of the track. Like, just keep shooting it, man. You can
Yeah.
you can cut that shit in post. Don't worry about, oh, I have to have like 7 seconds of perfect film. No, just keep panning it. And then find that shit in post, cut it, and then splice it in there. It's fine. I do it all the time. There isn't a single person that watches this show that tries to go out and get perfect cuts every single time they shoot. It's impossible. There isn't a
You'd lose
single.
your mind trying to do that, I'd imagine. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
to try to tailor each second. I can't even imagine.
I mean, granted, I've had multiple cases where I've gone out and I've done it in one take, and I'm like, yeah, that's it. Like, it's done. Like, I was intentional about setting up the shot. I watched it through before I clicked record and was like, yeah, this looks good. Fucking hit record, one take, and it's done. Yeah, it's possible,
Right.
but it's highly unlikely for a lot of stuff. When it comes to B-roll, yeah, honestly, like, it's taken me multiple times to get that perfect B-roll shot. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but it can be. But yeah, I mean, I think his depth of field stuff looks good. I mean, this is a little blurry, but I don't know, like, that's being super fucking nitpicky.
That's getting down to it. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm not upset about this. One thing that so this, okay. This was the egregious one. What I would have liked to seen is the zoom that he had back here, and then we cut to this, and then it's slow-mo. Because you get a full speed clip, and then it's snap zoom into slow-mo. And it doesn't look good. It never looks good.
Yeah. No, I see exactly what you're saying now.
Right.
It's too abrupt. Well, okay, it's too abrupt for the mood that we got going right now, for the type of edit that we go. I'm sure that there's some weird niche, super high whatever speed ramping that this maybe could fit in, but this isn't the content that this scene fits in my opinion.
No, It doesn't work. Again, like I would avoid it at all costs. Just plain and simple. Just avoid it, man. It doesn't look good. Um, and I don't know. Maybe I'm the snap zoom's biggest hater, but I dislike it. But everything else looked solid. Like these shots are great. Oh yeah, I can't. Yeah, I'll be able to hear it.
He had one clip.
Pistol so big, ain't no
Little
tucking it
bit.
in. I got it.
Yeah. No bike sounds. Put dirt bike sounds in it, man.
There was just a little blip somewhere. I don't remember where it was, but I was like, that was my talking point that I wanted, was like, I wanted more bike sounds on that. Wide open ripping a moto course. Come on.
yeah. Like hear hauling, man. Like I want to hear that thing bark. And yeah, it's just kind of a shame that we didn't get to hear that. But overall, like not bad. I think, there's some stuff that I would clean up a little bit for sure. Play around with reshade, get that dialed in a little bit better. Like it's not in a bad spot, but definitely like play around with it and try to get some more out of it. And just adds variety. It makes it look a lot higher quality. And then like the big takeaway is get rid of your snap zooms. Never use it again. I promise you once you stop using snap zooms and then you look at a piece of content like 3 months down the road after you've shot a couple of things without using snap zooms, you'll look back at this stuff and you'll be like, oh my god, what was I thinking? It just doesn't. If you replace it with those 2 separate shots that we talked about earlier, dude, it looks 100 times better. I promise
Just
you.
elevates it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your big takeaway is snap zooms. I'm saying make an ending, clean it up a little bit. Don't just let everything fall off.
Mhm.
Like put some time to the ending.
100%. Yeah, I think, yeah, he's definitely in the right direction. He's got a lot of
Oh,
things,
yeah,
in
absolutely.
his toolbox where I'm like, yeah, like I can be as nitpicky as I want with something like this. Not at the level that I can be nitpicky with guys like Pax or other really high level. Oh, man, Pax just gets all sorts of love on this show. It's incredible.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
but like he puts out a ton of content and it's really solid. But those really high level guys that do this day in and day out, like we can be super super granular with our feedback. Whereas, you look at something like this and it's just kind of on the threshold of where we can start to be a little bit more granular, but there's some pretty glaring things that I would clean up before I would want to get that deep into it.
But he's close to it, which is the cool thing to see. So
Exactly. He's right there. All right. So this one, MX Christian, it's called 1,000 Hours. After grinding through 1,000 hours in bikes, I had to put
Okay,
together a
okay.
special edit to celebrate. Video pack with favorite clips, clean whips, huge. Thanks to everybody who's been a part of the ride. Here's to 1,000 more. All right. Awesome. Well, let's, a minute and 2 seconds. Let's give it a watch.
I had to lay a little off. Yeah, I had to cut a bill off. Yeah, but if we be real though, yeah, no, I will never feel nothing. I said to jump in the gun, yeah, like I do it for fun. You act like you do it for real, but no, you not on the vibe, you never could come. Inside of this girl that we run, inside of this world we run, we do it for us. Now I'll fuck with one of them at all, won't fuck you at all.
Okay. What do you need a minute? I can touch on a couple things.
Yeah, you go.
Okay. um well, I actually kind of like the vibe when we were getting into it. It's like I'm assuming that the aspect ratio is just something wacky that we don't typically see. So really cinematic feel, a lot of mood kind of building with the music. I like the,
Mm.
showcasing the track and stuff. I think it built really well. And then it turned into a cinematically shot, not edit. Like it really was kind of confusing with the vibe
Mhm.
of the writer that we were the writing we were given versus what it was trying to convey. I guess that's how I interpreted it.
Mhm.
Um I don't know. Biggest thing was the shots weren't I can see what they're trying to do, but it's coming down to camera work and stuff like that. I'm sure you are going to touch on a little bit more than that, but um it just okay. I guess the buildup didn't complement the meat of the project, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not going to harp on this too much because what it is, we've touched on this in season 1. I can't remember who the editor was, but they loved using black bars to create that aspect ratio of the cinescope, which I love. I personally love when people do that because it's a really cool effect. And just adds a lot of like motion and a different feel to bikes in general.
Yeah.
However, and like this is showing that it's in 4K, but I can promise you this was not recorded in 4K. I
Mhm.
don't like this is whatever. He wants to celebrate 1,000 hours, put together a piece. Maybe he's just having fun. I don't think this guy is an editor by trade. I think he likes playing the game. And that's it. And that's all I'm really going to say about this because to me, this wasn't anything that I would say is somebody trying to get better at it. I think this is somebody that just wanted to put some riding clips to music and
To showcase like a milestone in their MX Bikes career.
yeah, and he put black bars over it because he likes that, and then it did not make sense to me as well. I don't I don't know. Like I'm not gonna spend too much time on this one.
He liked it. He thought, you made
Yeah,
something cool,
yeah,
and at the end of the day, that's it, right?
right. That's all it needs to be. There's a lot of other people that were on this show earlier that put in some work with actual camera work and stuff like that and like took time, and I want to give them feedback. This to me just didn't look like he really
It's just something to put out.
yeah, he wants to celebrate something, and that's fine. I'm not gonna sit here and harp on it because there's um yeah, that's just it is what it is. Okay, so moving on. All right.
Moving on.
All right. Well, this is
Oh,
our only submission of the week, and it's done by the man himself. And before we even get into it, I want to talk about this just in case the not the last one, but the one prior can understand what exactly I'm talking about when it comes to near blur. And Pax does an amazing job at this. So like just in this shot alone, we haven't even clicked start, right, or play. And he's got 2 different depths of fields. So when you shoot in real life, things that are far away will be blurry from your focus point, and things that are close to you will also be blurry. And Pax does a great job of displaying this because this mound of dirt right here is really close to him, and it's super blurry. You can tell it's a mound of dirt because of the color and whatnot. And also, this big 0 racewear sign, that's also blurry because it's super far away. This is the high level, like high quality shit. This is something that not a lot of people do because they don't understand it. When they hear depth of field, they just want the background to be blurry. But if you want to be like considered a high level editor by, my standards, the show standards, everybody else's standards, this is the type of stuff you need to be doing. But all right, let's click play. 2 minutes and 5 seconds. Wow.
I know. I was gonna say he was just flaming me for hating short form, and he submits something over 2 minutes. So
What? I'm impressed. Now, okay, so now we get to see him actually like flex a muscle a little bit. 2 minutes of
dude.
a PAX edit. This is gonna be good.
let's do it.
You've used this song before. It's a good song. It's definitely a sweet song to edit to, but like I know I'm pretty sure this was in your Dokimoto edit. This is really quiet. Speed ramps, sick. Oh, okay. This is a commission piece.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
It's got some text animation. Hell yeah.
Sweet.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, shoot. What's there's not really much to pick apart. I mean, obviously. Um, I guess I'll comment on the stuff that I really like.
Mhm.
Very deliberate in what he wants to do, and that's clear, right?
Mhm.
And he delivers a great piece. There's some super cool shots. Um, very fluid. Matching to the song. Love the text up there. Um, yeah, this little choppy bit, it's a little stuff like that it's so short in the altogether piece, but you imagine it's the music, going to black and white. It's just that little stuff that gives the viewer's brain something more to, you know, process and just really appreciate. I really like these long sweeping shots too. Um, yeah, I didn't really see anything that was super glaring that got me out of the edit. This was a very high quality piece.
Yeah, okay. So I know we've really harped on this a lot today. Okay. So it looked like a snap zoom from the first watch, but now that I've seen the camera work, PAX does a great job of achieving that same effect with a linear push in. So the zoom does not change. And I could be incorrect here, but if you watch this next shot that I'm going to talk about, you'll see like we get closer to that subject and it almost achieves the same effect as a snap zoom, but it's not. Because he does it with speed ramping. So it looks like that shot is actually progressing forward faster in time, and then it goes into slow-mo. Everything
It's
else,
both. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yep.
it looks way better. And like again, Pax is very deliberate in the way that he shoots. There was one piece of drone work that I wasn't a huge fan of, and it was really just the end. And
Oh, right here where it kind of cuts in right
yeah,
there.
like that was the only thing that I would say. Like, man, I didn't like that, and maybe that was just trying to get some length out of a shot, something like that. But for the most part, like, yeah, if that's the only thing I'm gonna harp on, yeah, like that portion, that'd be the only thing I would say. Other than that, no, like it's a fucking Pax edit. He submits these for feedback.
And a longer one.
Yeah, again, ooh, and one thing that I really noticed, I don't know if I've ever seen him do an aspect ratio in this Cinescope stuff, and I really enjoyed that. That was something I'm sure he's done it in the past, but a majority of the content that I've seen from him has all been full resolution, 16:9, and
Well, I
seeing
think
it
it really helps with the mood of the piece.
exactly, it was
Yeah.
a cinematic remix to a rap song, and it like you get that big orchestral stuff, and he ties it well with
Yeah.
syncing to the music, and it fit the piece perfectly. And
Yeah.
yeah, no complaints. Um, Again, like the reshade's dialed. There's nothing there. I I
Well, he
think
does a good job too. Don't mean to talk over you, but
go for it.
going back to we were talking about that piece that was all slow mo.
Mhm.
Sure, this had a lot of slow mo, but he speed ramped into it, so it didn't
Right.
feel like it was droning on. Like each shot was fresh, and then it highlighted. Like it actually, the speed ramp actually amplified more of the intention of the slow mo.
Yeah, and 100%. I did like the After Effects stuff. I've been seeing him do
Yeah, me too.
kind of this stuff that is different. He's been exploring around with this stuff for a while, I assume, but I haven't seen like most of the stuff that we've watched recently. It's been little flares, but it's not overdone. Like this is the only portion of the entire edit that he does some like cool visual effects with, and I thought that was very interesting. It's not enough where I'm sitting here like, oh yeah, I could do without this. Like it was tasteful. Everything in moderation. I would say, while I just got done complimenting this, you know what? No, because we've seen like movie trailers do this before, or like what the fuck? I can't remember what the actual director is, where it's kind of a what the fuck do they call it? It's like it progresses through a shot and then you get a still image, and that still image, like it would cut out the rider in this instance, and that text would like zoom in with all of those heavy visual effects. It's usually for like a
Yeah,
title
yeah.
card or a credit scene, where you're introducing somebody. I Yeah, like it's done a lot in like Fast and Furious and stuff like that. I think maybe, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. But like that would be something, if he's looking for ideas when he goes to do this After Effects heavy visual work, do something like that, because that's just another layer that he could do to really add to this piece. Because if you're already going from like a very cinematic style of shooting to something, along these lines, like really, really lean into it. You know what I mean? And like
Well, yeah, you could like highlight the writer, like because this is a commission piece, right? Um,
100%.
like you said, do exactly that. Cut the writer out, and then boom, his name and number or something. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and it's like just a little piece that he could have done that I would have. I mean, it would have just added a little bit more flair to it. But I like he's using the particle effects and stuff like that. So he's exploring that realm, which again, I don't expect every single editor to do that, because that's insane. It's another program that's not very user friendly. It's difficult. It's super resource intensive too. So, you guys that are running this game on TI-85s and then trying to put out content, good luck running After Effects. You're going to start a house fire. But yeah, for the most part, dude, like not even for the most part, like it's a PAX edit. It's shot really well. It's deliberate. All of his shots make sense. Like there's nothing to me except for that one piece of drone work that I maybe would have cleaned up and maybe would have reshot that again. And it's just the tail end of it. I think everything here was fine. One thing I'm entirely sure. Maybe he had him.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't think so.
yeah, bike sounds, man. Like I think, I don't know, like PAX is pretty good about having, dirt bike sounds, and a lot of it is like injected from real life footage. So maybe that's just a stylistic choice. I would have loved to have heard some dirt bikes, especially in a lot of these shots where he's shredding. And I called races with turbo in it. Like this guy shreds. He's really fucking fast. So it would have been nice. Another nice to have would be to have bike sounds. But as far as like the editing and stuff goes, yeah, no, this is great. It makes sense. I love the cinescope aspect ratio. I love that, everything is deliberate. The reshade looks great. There's a variety of different shots throughout the piece, and I think he nailed it.
Oh yeah, the emotion, like just the feel of it. Um, I like the 2 minute mark. Yeah, yeah, all wrapped up. It's all the talking points that we preach. He nailed every single one of them. So this is just certified solid.
Right. Yeah, and actually that kind of ties into what I wanted to talk about for next week. We have a really special episode, and I know we kind of alluded to it, or I alluded to it last week. So next week we're going to dive into a singular project, and it is going to be an entire PAX episode. Again, he will be joining us along with Pelster to review his project Synergy. I know I've quoted it or like referenced that project throughout this season. I don't know if I mentioned it a ton last season because it was still pretty fresh. Maybe it was after that, but I know I've referenced it a ton. So it's, again, a long form piece done by a really high quality guy. So Pax and Pelster are going to join us next week in studio to break down not only how Pax put together that piece, but how that map was formed and how this all ties together for a really solid piece of content. And we're going to break that down for an hour and some change. So that's what's coming next week, man. And I think it's going to be a really sweet episode.
No, that's super cool. It's a really rare look. A peek behind the curtains, on some of the stuff going on. A lot of people, don't even know Synergy exists. Obviously, they try to push it out, but we're a small game. It's a weird little corner of the internet we got.
Right.
So to kind of see the inner workings of how everything got created, I think that's super cool. Yeah,
No.
no, I'm excited for that.
And again, like it's I feel bad because there's not going to be any submissions for next week. So guys that want to submit, sorry, we're going to push them off for a week. Actually 2 weeks. We got the first rewind episode, which will be super fun. Actually the first rewind episode will be the PAX show. So when we do, just kind of putting out like that idea, when we do a rewind episode, we're going to be looking back at content that's from a while ago, and then we will be reviewing that either with the editor or a variety of people that were a part of that project. So yes,
Yeah.
so we got 2 rewind episodes back to back this week or next week and the week after, and then we'll go back to a regular show. Yeah. Okay. So one thing, I guess. Oh yeah, I'll drop him a like. I'm already subscribed. Nice job, Pax. Like this is solid. I want to see more long form content from you. I know you've been doing a ton of commission work, but like you really, really should start pushing out longer projects. We really enjoy it.
Oh yeah, just two random guys on the internet. Fucking love it.
Right, 100%. Okay, so just kind of close out the night. I guess I'll let you pick from the last 5 which ones you wanted to go through, or just which one.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and do the second to last one that you put Ooga Booga.
Okay. So 55 seconds. This is a short one. This one was really fun to put together. Yeah. All
You've been
right.
kind of leaning into more of the short form.
It's all been ad
That's
based,
cool.
man. I'm really pushing hard for season 15. And I think this is really fun to get a bunch of people that are supported by the brand to be involved.
Yeah, dude. When I first saw this, I was really blown away with this one specifically. There's some super cool shots in this one. Man, like, well, and this is what I mean about being you under a microscope for the short form content. You gotta throw a lot of stuff at me. You have to make it interesting. You have to make it good. Um, First off, right off the rip, you pick, really hype song, right? You're amping the viewer up. And then there's this really cool chain shot, with the rear wheels spinning. The B-roll is just like really, really cool. You're trying to find really interesting things to look at, that isn't typically showcased. Yeah, there's the head turn, right? That's just going to be a thing in MX bikes, right?
Right.
But it looks good. Um, no, and then we touched on this, I think, starting last season too. But your use of your audio engineering, with that, ripping through that berm and the whooshing sound, the slow mo, making that a whole moment.
Mhm.
And I skipped over, pressure, writing the name out. Typical of you have name cards, but it's usually just block lettering and really intentional, which is a really cool vibe too. But now, you know, you're you still have title cards, you're still, showcasing, but it's a different vibe, and it's super cool to see you kind of exploring around that. I think I picked this piece because it's really showing all the different things that you're trying. Um, there's a really cool, I know I'm talking really fast, but there's just a lot to get through. There's a top-down whoop shot that I think is incredible. I think that's so cool. I don't know if this is the first one that you did it, but that's a really cool moment to showcase. I really like how this is shot. Um Man, what else? Um oh, there is a it's toward the end. I think he's going over the Supercross finish line, or maybe it's a triple, but you're
Mhm.
on the ground, right? I think it's right here. I don't know what is different about this handy cam or what you did, if it's After Effects, but it looks different, but it looks really, really good. Is there
So
any insight behind that? Or like, am I seeing something different, or is it like a placebo effect?
yeah, so I'll be honest with you, I did not like the way that this was shot, and I should have reshot it, but I was trying
Really?
to get something out the door. And for me, so what this is it's a full speed clip with the audio, and then I slowed this down in pre-production and reshot it to try to get it as smooth as possible, but it's super shaky. And the reason why is it's right here. When I go to transition from the top of that shot back down to track that rider through the shot, it looked really bad, in my opinion.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
And to hide that, I tried to add some camera shake to it, and it just made it worse. So this is a testament that bad camera work cannot be fixed in fucking post.
Okay.
In my opinion, this was not shot well. Like
Right
it's
there, it's like at the tail end is what you're saying, where it gets a little chopped?
so like what you'll see is because I slowed this footage down in pre-production and filmed it, the rider is not in a natural point. So like the camera would get in ahead of the rider, and then it'd come back to center. And then I tried to catch back up to try to keep that rider
I
in
see.
focus. And it looks
Okay.
really choppy. And I did not like that. But I did the same thing here in this shot, and it looks way better because the subject goes out of frame. So
Gotcha. Okay.
lessons learned there. But yeah, I personally did not like this shot. I thought it was
Shot right there. Okay.
yeah, it was really, really choppy. It was not indicative of good camera work. But yeah, again, that's a testament. Like if you have shitty camera work, you can't fix it in post, so just reshoot it.
Sure. Yeah, I gotcha. Well, I think the other parts of the piece that I touched on more than make up for that little bit, and luckily it was quick, right?
Right.
Um, I think right here, this is I think probably the coolest part of the piece. Yeah, just the audio, the visual, all coming together, super cool. I think you got the fade nailed. Your little transitions, like this is a good spot to highlight that little. It's because you're not just cutting clip to clip, right? You're doing little transitions, and they're like split second, but they're there.
Right.
So
Oh,
no, yeah, this is a huge banger, and I'm not even a short form content guy, but this I really like this.
yeah, so this is a really interesting way that you can like smash cut two clips together, and kind of achieving that same effect that we achieved or we've talked about a couple edits ago is, getting that same feel of a snap zoom, but filming it from two completely separate zooms and they're smash cutting them together. So it's like 2 frames of a negative, which I've shown, and then it's like a lighter flick or a match flick, something like that. And it's just a quick.
It's so quick. Like if you blink, you miss it.
Right. It's like 2 frames, and I picked that up from Holtzy when he was on the show because he talked about doing that. And like, I don't like to steal everybody's edit techniques, but like it's something that stuck with me as a really dope way to do it. And he picked it up from some mountain bike edits. So there's
Okay.
little tips and tricks that you can do to like make these pieces look like way cooler. And it's little flares, so you're not going out and using transition packs. Like there's stuff that you can do in Premiere or in After Effects that are going to look a little bit better. It's less stuff going on, right? It's less cheesy. It's more kind of that thought out, deliberate piece, and it's cohesive. So I've used that a ton. One thing that I did want to talk about, and I can't remember exactly where it was. Oh, yeah. So snap zooms. So this is a piece that is actually, or like a way to film that is taken from like one of the most notable ways that it's a snap zoom, but it's like different. So what I'm doing here is I'm zooming in, and at the same time I'm pulling away from that shot. So it gives this really weird visual effect. And God, where is it? It's okay. It's the same effect. Sorry, I'm showing. This is probably going to get taken down, but
I think we should get off the road.
that. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So this is the focal point here, right? And it's really abrasive to the eyes, but because it's done so well, it adds this like a visual effect that's really like dissonant. It's visually dissonant, but it looks good, right? So here. You see how this is getting closer, but
Yep.
yeah. So like that's
No, the subject is there, but everything around it.
right. So
Yeah.
it achieves the same effect, but it's a number plate, and the background is getting closer while the subject is remaining in the same place. So the way that I've done that is zooming in at the same speed that I would be pulling away from that shot or from the subject, and it creates this really interesting visual effect. Another way that it's a little bit easier to highlight, and sorry, I don't want to spend too much time on my content. I don't know why I'm downloading something that's interesting that happened. But like in Kurt's edit. Yeah, like right here.
Ah,
We do the same thing, and it's a really
Gotcha.
neat effect. But again, like the rider's not the subject. The subject is just this random triple lip. Like that's what the subject is. And you can achieve this really cool visual effect by doing something like that and staying away from snap zooms. So I implore people to go out and try to shoot something like that. I think it's it's just it's a way to shoot stuff and make it look cooler without doing stuff that looks corny. So that's my piece on snap zooms and how that works. But yeah.
no, yeah, I'm glad you highlighted that. Well, it's so quick too, right? But that goes to show how much thought and planning that went into this what 1-2 second blip of the
Right.
Senate, right?
Right. 33 and it's like a second and a half.
It's not like like you were saying earlier, fire and forget type of thing where you're just gonna film shit and everything is gonna be good.
Right.
It's deliberate planning for these little things. Even going
And
back to little things of pressure's name card. That's not even like part of the filming, but it's an extra piece of the puzzle.
well, right. And there's audio behind it, and it's hard to pick up, but you'll hear like the marker on like a piece of paper.
Yeah.
It's hard with like the song. It's a lot more clear in SZA's portion. Because the song itself is a little bit quieter in those portions, but like you hear the cap sound of the marker, you hear the actual marker, and then it's like a glitch portion at the end when it jumps out. So again, you just scale it up and then you turn it on a difference blend mode, and it gives that same effect that you would get from what we talked about back here, with like that little transition piece. And it just helps like add some visual flair to your piece, in my opinion.
Depth to it instead of just cutting away, which
Right.
is I mean it's fine, but when we get into this next level, then looking back on a piece that doesn't have this, it can get dry. So
Right. Well, and here's another. Okay, so like talking just about visual, like effects that you can do. So this is shot in the same vein that this number plate shot is done. So this is also a snap zoom, but there's motion in it. So again, the subject is it's the rider, but it's not. Like my focal point is like right here. Like you can see where this is in focus. And if we look at this, like it starts to zoom in, but it's a slow zoom. And we let that rider progress through the frame.
I was going to say, you're not focused on the rider. You're letting that rider come through the shot, essentially.
Exactly. We're not focused on that. And it adds just a little bit more depth. And some people might harp on it. It's like, oh, you're not in focus. And I've done it too. Like I think I harped on PAX a couple of weeks ago about a rider not being in focus in a shot. It's not the end of the world. Like it's okay to have this happen because this is how this would be shot in real life. And yeah, so I guess I'm hypercritical of a lot of things. But when it comes down to it, like there's some really cool stuff that you can do with like actual camera work that's not just trying to do all sorts of wild stuff with After Effects or Premiere. Like you can get really cool shots done just with bikes and OBS. And it, again, like good camera work, way easier to work with in post production. Don't have shitty camera work. That should be the slogan.
There you go. Yeah, build your foundation.
Exactly. It's the fundamentals, right? Yeah, no, this one was a really fun piece to shoot. I've been enjoying kind of doing the short form stuff off the heels of year one. And I thought this one was definitely like one of the more interesting ones to shoot.
Yeah, like I said, I think this is a good one to highlight all the stuff that you have done and are now working on. It's always a moving target. Progressing
Exactly.
and shooting, not staying like, oh, hey, I'm good at this and this is all I'm gonna do. It's always trying something new and
Right.
seeing what works and doesn't. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, 100%. And that's, what comes with being, an editor, right? Like you're going to progress. You're going to find new things that you really enjoy, and like my stylistic of choices of shooting have changed drastically over the last like year, I would say.
Oh, for sure.
And now it's getting better and better, and I'm finding new things that I really enjoy. And it's the same with every editor, right? Like the way that Pax shoots is probably going to change in 3 months from now, because he's gonna be like, oh man, that was a really cool shot, and like I want to continue to try to like see if I can incorporate that into my style. But like his overall style of shooting is going to remain the same.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
he's not going to completely change his brand and like how he shoots stuff. He's just going to maybe try to incorporate some new stuff, because at a certain point in time, like I think you hit it right in the head, it gets stale and you don't want to do it anymore, because it's like, oh man, I'm going to go do these same 7 different camera angles with camera motion, and it's going to be what it's going to be. I think just progressing, getting out of a plateau, thinking outside the box, it's really helpful when you start to do this stuff at a high level.
Yeah, keep it fresh just for you too, because of course, to the casual enjoyer, they'll be like, oh yeah, that's a PAX edit, that's a so-called edit. They look good, but creating it, like, probably kind of boring.
Right.
I'd imagine, especially if you're pushing out a lot of content. So,
Well, right. And like, I can only imagine how long it took Pax to create that 2.5 minute edit. Like, that's a lot of shooting. And I'm guarantee he had to shoot that, like those shots probably 3, 4, probably 5 times to get it right. And that's where a lot of people that are very new to this, they think like, oh, I just need to do it once. No, dude, do it again. Do it again. Make sure it looks right.
You'll be it right.
Yeah. Be deliberate. Be, be the editor that you want to be, not the editor that you are now. And the easiest way to do that is just take time. Take your time. If it takes you 4 hours to do this, because like this 55-second piece took me about 4 hours to do.
Well, fair enough. With all the quick stuff you're doing, like I said, everything's thought out. Even this shot that we're talking about.
Right.
I'm sure you had to film this a couple times. I mean, maybe not since you have it down, but you know what I mean?
No, you have to do this a lot, because
to get it right.
Right. Like the pace in which that you zoom and the pace at which you move the camera has to be almost identical for this to work. So it takes time, and it's a pain in the ass, because I have to rebind my keys or my buttons on my controller to get it right. And maybe I should just go and like switch them and never do it again. But I don't know. Like for me, it's easier to film the rest of it, like the meat and potatoes of the edit, with the normal keybinds that I've found. But there's stuff like that, like taking your time, doing it right. It really helps you in the end. But yeah, I don't know. This one was fun. I've got a couple more that I need to pound out, and then I'll probably take a little bit of a break as far as content is concerned. I might push out some stuff here and there, just for funsies. Maybe start. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really want to like. I got a lot of love for the guys that do the commissioned work, but man, dude, it's a grind, bro. Like it's always, you know, oh, I want this song with this, and it's like, like this,
Yeah.
like I really like being in full creative control when it comes to this stuff, because for me that's the beauty of it, right? Like this is your work. It's But I mean, if you find a way to make money doing it, awesome. Like that's just my opinion of it. Is I would do it, but I've priced my work so high when it comes to this stuff that I just don't get a whole lot of commission work for it.
Yeah, I gotcha. And fair enough. Fair play to you.
Yeah, I just don't want to do it. And if I do it, it's you know, I'm taking the reins and I'm doing it the way that
Yeah,
I want
you
to do it.
wanted to. Yeah, you wanted to. Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, man, I think that's gonna do it for this week. This was a good ep. I'm glad to have you back, man.
It's good to be back. Really, honestly, for what it is, I really enjoy doing this. So
100%. Once again, thank you to everybody that showed up and watched the show. We're trying to get better about reading chat as much as we can.
yeah.
Yeah, but just a couple of shameless plugs before we get off tonight. Again, in the description down below is the Road to Recovery cause page for Jerry Robin. If you feel like it, I know that him and his wife Jennifer would really appreciate it. Go donate to them. Jerry's a wonderful kid that has just kind of been getting kicked in the teeth his entire life, and like a talented guy on a dirt bike, and to see this happen is absolutely heartbreaking. Then go watch his Gypsy interview, God, and he'll tell you the whole story. To see that happen so quickly after getting that praise and whatnot, it just sucks, and it goes to show like how dangerous motocross can be, and stuff like this can happen in an instant. And it's thankfully he's alive, but life is going to look a lot different for him. So again, link is down in the description. Please go check it out, donate if you can. Other than that, man, next week we got the first rewind episode of the weekly review. We're going to have Pax and Pelster on to go through and break down the behind the scenes of not only the Synergy project, but the Hills, which it was filmed on. So super cool insights from both of those guys next week. And then after that, we're going to have our first SED rewind, where it's going to be, I'll be here, but Junk, you're going to be running or Josh, you're going to be running the show.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'll do my best, but no, I'm excited for the upcoming weeks. Kind of deviating from our norm, which is fun.
Yeah.
No, it's gonna be really cool to talk to those guys, and just other creators in this corner that we have.
100%.
Always super cool to learn, and just to meet, kind of grow the community, bring everybody in, and then onto the team. Given the people a voice that really don't have a platform that that they're not used to, and I think it'll be really cool to kind of put them in the hot seat and see their thoughts and stuff.
Right.
And go from there.
What they notice as a viewer versus what we notice as people that review content on a weekly basis.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you guys so much for watching the weekly review. This is episode 4. Again, this is a edits review show where we dive in and check out all the content that has been produced in the last 7 days by brand new editors or top level editors from around the world. Like, comment, subscribe. I don't know. I'm new to this whole fucking call to action YouTube shit. Like, this show is fun. We're just two dudes on the internet. Every single piece of feedback or opinions that we give is completely subjective. So take it with a grain of salt. We're here to try to make people better, and that's kind of the whole purpose of this show, man. Like, we're not trying to drag anybody down. It's not like that.
Absolutely not. No.
And I know there's times where it's like, oh God. It's hard. I will say it's sometimes it's hard, and we just need to look at this through a lens of like, a lot of these people are just trying to have fun playing video games, and they're not probably looking for somebody like myself to really nitpick what they're doing.
hypercritical, this needs to be on the big screens, right? No, it's
Right.
nothing like that.
No. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. We'll catch you next week.